Good evening. So today's episode is about that internal voice that kind of gets in your way, and before we are able to actually make a change, you get stuck and you go, oh. So this is that moment where you say, no, I really can't do a thing, even though you haven't tried yet, but you're already saying what you can't do. And so today is basically for folks who have that internal voice and need to work through it. I have I won't say that there are three strategies, but there are three lessons that I'm learning about how to listen and how to reframe that. And so this is a moment where I guess I acknowledge for myself, and maybe some of you will acknowledge that we can be freezing and we can be not moving yet because we're about to fly, because we're about to do a thing that we didn't even know we could do. And so before I get started, let me introduce you to the channel. I'm Dr. Davia. This is Welcome to Not All the Things. Not All the Things. This is a space for success-driven women of color, and this is a place where we talk about work-life balance, wellness, and wine. And today's conversation is definitely a wellness one, and it was inspired by my daughter and her journeying right now. And so I've been thinking about this idea of what I can't do even before we try, and I have just been trying to figure that out, even for myself. And so I'm hoping that this reflection out loud could be helpful to someone. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, or think about subscribing. It's free, and you can, subscribe to multiple channels. I have a ton of channel subscriptions that I follow, a ton of YouTubers. So yeah, please think about that. I'm trying to grow my channel to 500. So if you are returning and you like this content, please, I'm asking you to share it with one new person and ask them to subscribe, and maybe have them share it with one other person. So we'll have that snowball effect. All right. Glad to see you back. Today will not be long, but today really is me just reflecting out loud, and I hope that this conversation is useful to some of you. So we're gonna get started. The first thing that I really have been thinking about is the phrase, I can't, but I can't, right? And so the but I can't, even though you haven't tried yet, really stems from a place of, probably a place of fear. It's giving you some kind of information. It's not fully negative. I don't really believe that. It's just you might be stuck, right? You might be stuck in your own mind, and sometimes, lots of times the mind is so powerful, and the mind says, plays these games, not always nice and kind games, but plays these games that really say, no, you're not able to do this right now, or starts giving you all the reasons why you can't do something. And when something really matters to you, it's really when you kind of start going through that. And so this moment, I think, is normal, right? It's normal. And it's normal for us to pause. And it's normal for us to have to think about, well, why are we doing this pause? Why are we saying that? And we need to reframe that freeze a little bit and understand that, yes, we can be stuck a little bit, but you're not stuck, right? You're just trying to make sense of what that next step is going to mean. And so what really is happening is that you should be listening to yourself, right? You should be listening, and not to that negative voice that's saying, no, girl, you can't do it. Once you release yourself, and sometimes there's I don't know, there's some shame underneath it. There's some, I don't know, there's some presence or lack of confidence about something that holds you back, that keeps you from the possibility. And so once you say that, I would say out loud, it begins to make some space for some clarity to come through. And so normalizing the pause, I think, is a better way of saying, oh, I'm stuck and I can't do it, right? Just normalize it, that when something's really big, really important, really scary, you do get in that moment of, oh my gosh, should I do this? And so it's okay for us to be in that space, because we're only there for a moment. We might be there for a long moment, but it is for us to start doing this kind of deep dig. It is for us to know that we may not have clarity about what we're doing, but that it's okay for us to be in this pause, that we're not frozen, right? Doesn't mean we're stuck. It means at the moment, we're just easing into it, okay? Excuse me for the misspell. It's late. All right. My second lesson comes actually from a conversation I had with my husband. Yes, big up to him, because we were talking about something and I said, I'm ready to retire. I'm ready. If not in 2 years, 3 years, but soon. And he was like, wait a minute. I need you to be present in the moment. You just worked to get to this moment, and now you already push into the next. And you know what? Shifting from the action of I want to do the next thing to permission to be present, that's not an easy thing to do. It's definitely not always my way. It's not many women's way. Most women are like, okay, I did this, now I'm moving on to this. Not that men don't do that, but I can only speak for me, right? And so he definitely pulled me back and was like, wait. You just got to this moment. You just talked about being here for 6 months. And you know what? He's right. But when there's this, I don't know, feeling of, I'm good right now, but I want to be like planning the next thing. And really, it's hard to not be planning the next thing, but to be present in the current, especially if the current is keeping in your mind you from the thing that you really want, right? Which is freedom, whatever that freedom looks like for you, right? And so, but I can't do that because I got to be here right now, right? And so giving yourself permission to shift from being in action, full on action, to being present, and knowing that you don't actually have the plan laid out, right? You're feeling like you need to have the plan. Something's heavy on you right now. You don't want to do something right now. Yes, I am frustrated with some travel arrangements, something really small, but it's making me look and go, oh yeah, it's that next thing I can't wait to get to. Or I'm frustrated with something that I'm not able to really figure out just yet. And so it's making me look and go, I can't do this thing right now because I'm ready for the next thing. And so I appreciate him as much as I didn't really want to hear that. He definitely pulled me back and was like, wait a minute, I know you're not talking about the next thing when you need to sit in the first thing. And so I think for all of us, when you have that moment, but I can't do something, know that you are shifting from action to have permission to be present in whatever the feeling is. And maybe when you do that, like the real truth comes up, right? The real truth begins to surface. And you can be honest with yourself that you might be currently frustrated about what's in front of you, even if it's something small, but enough to make you start looking forward. And it's okay, right? And then this third lesson, this is one that might be counterintuitive, right? You're going to create some micro movement, but it's not going to be the full plan laid out in front of you, right? This is the kind of movement that may not be as productive as you're used to, but it's releasing what's really up under you right now, right? So it could be that scream that you need to take or make, right? It could be that cry that you're not allowing yourself to have. It could be the frustration of like, damn, I messed up right then. I should have done it this way, but I didn't, right? Whatever it is, it's just releasing the pressure, right? So there is micro movement, but it's not a full-on plan. It's not, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then next week I'm gonna do that. It's not that. It's clearing some space, clearing some mental space, right? These are moments that you say, you know what, I'm just gonna journal. I'm just gonna write some stuff down because what I really wanna do is release this feeling of frustration, right? So it's not fully performative, but it is still movement, and it doesn't take you down the path, but it releases that angst that you have, and it makes space, hopefully, for you to like trust yourself and to shift that voice, because sometimes that voice is just not nice about what you can't do. And so by having the micro movement, by shifting your actions and giving yourself permission, and by saying, you know what, it's normal to pause. Sometimes when you're about to make a big move or it's starting to get scary, you gotta pause. So when you do those three things, those are the lessons that I'm having right now with this, but I can't, even though I haven't tried. When you do these things, it helps you to breathe. And once you breathe, you can take some honest steps forward if you trust yourself, right? And so that's really all that I wanted to share. And I will have a few more reflections in the next couple of episodes. It's not profound. It's just having a moment to really sit and think and say, what's going on with why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling? Why am I not willing to make that move? What am I scared of? And what's the worst that could happen? You got to go back to doing the thing you were doing before. It's not that bad, right? So I hope that if any of this resonates with you, one, you give it a thumbs up, you give it a like, and that you share it, and that you really take a moment to pause and reflect for yourself. And I know I've shared in the past that one of the things that I tend to do is when I wake up in the morning, I say my prayers and I'm very thankful. But that pause moment, that moment where you breathe, and that moment where you go, whew, thank you, Lord. If you do that. If you don't, it's the moment that you take that deep breath. And so I just want to share with you, I hope the sound comes through, just one of my morning moments in Bangkok. Good morning, Bangkok. Look at you this morning. Have a blessed day. Yeah, every morning I say my prayers, I look out the window, and I just take a deep breath. And I realized that saying that you can't do a thing before you try is really so defeatist. It's not going to help you in any way. And that's not the space that I'm trying to be in. And I hope that that's not the space that you're trying to be in. And so I just want to say cheers to you all. I didn't even bring my water in here. I am so sorry today. That's the kind of day I'm having. But I want to say cheers and remember to not do all the things. All right. Bye.